You can definitely have equity securities that are tokenized, that are coins or tokens, and we have seen that several times.
If you liked this video, click below. And if you want to see more videos like this, click subscribe and then remember to click the little bell icon so you get notifications.
Enormous concentration of power.
Democracy, poverty reduction, and cryptocurrency.
Are you sophisticated enough to invest in securities?
Bitcoin is actually a reversion to commodity money.
Decentralized social networking.
One is, let's define what is or isn't equity securities.
Yeah, that I literally can't do that, because we have literally been through this with an issuer. I can't say who they are, but I mean, the comment letters from the SEC and our responses are or will be shortly on the Edgar system, and so people can work it out for themselves. The nature of equity securities. Interestingly, you've got two possible areas that you have to examine. Number one, legally, and secondly, from an accounting point of view, because something can be debt from a legal point of view and an equity from an accounting point of view, or the other way around. And it may be that what you're dealing with isn't even a security in the first place, or it's a security, but it's not equity. And so this is the analysis you kind of have to go through, because I know where you're going with this, which is, the restrictions in Regulation S and the like. So you do have to, once you've decided that the thing that you have is a security, next thing is, what sort of security? Equity in general will involve some kind of ownership of the company and some kind of say in the conduct of that company. Not necessarily both of those, but those are sort of big indications of equity. You could certainly have a security that you can definitely have equity securities that are tokenized, that are coins or tokens, and we have seen that several times with the Reg A filings, and I think some even registered filings with the SEC. And what we're looking at there is just, it is a share. It is a share on the blockchain. That's all it is.
Tokenizing existing equity securities. What I'm curious more about is what in Switzerland, the FINMA, which is the equivalent of the SEC here, they have three categories. They have essentially equities, but let's say securities. They call it securities, but they also have currencies, okay, which is the idea that people are using it for pay for all types of things. They also have utility tokens. Think like Filecoin, where using it to pay for storage. So they have, and something could have more than one designation, but the idea is that if it's one of the other two, if it's a utility or a currency, and it's not representing any sort of voting power in a corporation or anything like that, it's almost like a new class, because in the United States, it was either the only non-equity securities were contemplated to be debt. And here now we have.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's absolutely right. I mean, in some cases, the analysis depends on, for example, Reg A, debt is treated one way. Reg S, debt is treated one way, equity treated another, and anything that isn't equity is going to get treated as debt, which is great for us because the equity is always treated more strictly in terms of regulation in Regulation S, because it was assumed way back when that those were the securities most likely to flow back to the United States in circumstances in which it's really sort of indirect offering in the US, and then debt gets treated much more simply. And basically, the way Reg S is doing it is it's either equity or it's something else, and if it's something else, it goes in the debt bucket.
And that's great. Let's say that this is something else, okay? Because I feel that many of these tokens are something else. SafeMoon is whatever. It's you buy it thinking it's going to go up because it burns 10% of itself on every transaction. It's a crazy thing. But someone told me yesterday, oh, it's like a savings account that taking money out costs you some percent. Who knows? But here's the point. It's not equity. It's not an equity in anything.
Yeah.
And so for those types of things, I found, and let me know if there are more, but there's two great consequences of this. One is that with an equity security, you would need to do public registration, go on a national exchange after you've had 500 people. Is it 500 or 2,000?
It's 2,000, no more than 500 of whom can be non-accredited.
Okay, there you go. So after you have 500 non-accredited investors or 2,000 in general, you're going to have to basically register with the SEC.
That's right.
Not so if you have this asset that could be a security, it could be not, but it's definitely not an equity.
Yeah.
So that is great because you want to be able to put this on something like Uniswap, perhaps, or not you, but your investors might want to do that. And I'm calling them investors, even though, I'm not saying it's definitely a security, but people who bought it might want to resell it the same way that I bought this phone and I might want to put it on eBay, or the same way that, I bought an Amazon instance of a computer and now I put it on the market of Amazon instances to resell it. There's all secondary markets and not necessarily a security just because it's on a secondary market. But the point being that you don't have to worry about that limit in either case.
That's right.
If you want to see more videos like this, click subscribe and then remember to click the little bell icon so you get notifications. To Intercoin, making crypto mainstream.